Here's what Melissa Barrera said. This will take about 23 seconds. Listen.
And I also want to clarify that I technically wasn't fired because I hadn't signed my contract because of the strike. So my contract was done, but I hadn't signed it because I couldn't, because we were on strike. So technically, they didn't fire me. They just dropped me. They were just like, oh, got you. Bye.
All right. So here's what some of the comments said about that. This is on Twitter. One person here says, dude, I'm for Scream 7 too, but let's be real. The terms fired and dropped are just arguing semantics. The only reason it wouldn't be a firing is over not officially signing the contract. The unjust reason for why she was let go remains. Spyglass isn't excused for their actions. Agreed? It's a necessary clarification. Another person said, it's a necessary clarification from Melissa herself that should be shared. A lot of people assumed she signed the contract and got fired, which is what I thought too. A lot of people have many different takes. Melissa setting the story straight in her own words is good. Fair enough. Another one said, dropped, fired, it's the same thing. What they did to her was so wrong. Another one says, it's good to hear her clarify. Some of us like understanding the full story and truth. I'm not sure this means anything. The narrative stays the same. I could say maybe the downtime during the writer strike changed a lot of the initial plans. I wish she said this sooner because that could have avoided a lot of controversy. I only halfway agree with that one. Now, before I continue with the rest, so here's the purpose of me bringing this up. So here's what it's about. So most of us know what happened to her back in November of 2023. She put up a post. She was urging the government to stop arming and funding Israel because of what they're doing with the whole thing with Gaza and the Palestinians. And so she basically said, this is wrong. This is a genocide. This is an ethnic cleansing. And what did Spyglass do? Cut her. Now, what they're basically saying here is saying, hey, it doesn't make that much of a difference if you sign the contract versus it's like a what do you call it? It's a splitting hairs where it's like, okay, you either signed a contract and then they fired you, they cut you out the contract, or you didn't sign the contract and they just dropped you before you signed it. The point remains the same. Either way, she's not in the movie. And most of us wanted her to be in the movie, and we wanted to go more in depth into her story and see where she was going to take the whole thing with, you know, considering who her father was, and is she going to give into that darkness, or is she just going to have the strength to abandon it, or whatever the case might be. So they're basically saying, hey, we appreciate you for coming out and saying this, and we still like you and respect you, but this doesn't make a difference. It still doesn't excuse what Spyglass did to you. And I would tell her the same thing. Yeah, Spyglass still did you wrong, even if you didn't sign this contract. Either way, they basically made you out to be something that you weren't, or they were spewing a false narrative about you, which is saying, oh, you're being anti-Semitic because you're talking bad about Israel. When all you did was just say, hey, it's not that I hate Israel. It's just that I can call out their actions and what they're doing is wrong. It's just like a person that you know that you can like and respect. If they do something you disagree with, you can say it. That's exactly what she did with Israel. So people are saying, yeah, this doesn't make a difference. Either way, you're not in the movie. Now, is it possible that there can be some negotiations and maybe she could return for, I don't know, the 8th or 9th movie or whatever, or maybe be in some, I don't know. I think that's entirely possible, and I hope that would be best case scenario. But as I said before, and as they've said on here, it doesn't excuse what they did. Here's what a lot of the others are saying. One person here says, they still dropped her for her pro-Palestine comments. It doesn't change anything. I get that you were excited for Scream 7, and I think everyone is free on watching anything they want, but I think that you are trying to justify Spyglass. And she says, it's my perspective. I could be wrong. Yeah, that's, again, we've already said it 1,000 times. It's Spyglass. I mean, they're not excused. And I wish that the rest of the cast of the Scream franchise would have really pushed harder and really just put their foot right up the behind of Spyglass and say, listen, she did not say anything wrong. She didn't do anything illegal, didn't do anything wrong. She deserves to be in this movie. And I already told you what my initial prediction was. And now my prediction won't come into play. We'll never know if my prediction will come true or not. My prediction was if Scream 7 had all of the cast members in there that I wanted to be there, all of the people who survived Screams 5 and 6 and 4 and the first 3, like everybody who's a survivor, bring back Joel, bring back, Martha, Kirby, Mindy, Chad, along with the others, and you bring back Sidney Gale and Sam and Tara. If you did that and you really put together a good film, I think that movie could have grossed even more money than the first one. The first movie grossed just over 173 million. My prediction was it probably would have grossed at least maybe 175 million. So it's not I don't think it would have landslided it, but I think it would have just barely topped it. And again, let's face it, I mean, it's a horror film, so a lot of horror films would get lucky if they even reach $200 million at the box office. I mean, that's an extreme rarity. I know the movie Smile did that, but they're saying the same thing that I had. When I first read that and I saw that was up there, I said the same thing. I said, that doesn't make a difference. Spyglass still did you wrong. One person here says they still didn't bring her back because of her pro-Palestine post and called her anti-Semitic for being against a genocide. Spyglass is trash and always will be. Well, okay, but for me, she is still fired. Okay, yes, she hadn't signed on, but that was the plan. One person just says, wow. Yeah, I agree. Are we supposed to act like Spyglass wasn't negotiating her return as Sam and they had to redo the entire script, change directors, and change the entire story because they didn't want to work with her anymore because she was anti-Semitic? No, we're not supposed to act like that. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what they did, and they screwed up the whole movie. And after they fired her and after Jenna Ortega left and then Kevin Williamson, who's going to direct it, he quit. After that, I've said, and you can go back and watch some of my videos, I said it on here. I said, you know what? They're most likely facing a remake at this point. Which, by the way, don't take that the wrong way. I mean, it's not bad, because most horror slasher franchises have done remakes by now. Most of them have. Jason, Freddy, Halloween, Chucky, quite a few others. The Hills Have Eyes, Carrie, and what was the other one I was thinking of? When a Stranger Calls. They did all of them. So, in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I mean, a lot of them. So, I'm thinking like, okay, well, it's probably time for Scream to do that. I mean, we're in 2024 now. The first Scream came out in 96. So you're talking 28 years? Yeah, I think it's long overdue for a remake. That's what I thought they were going to do once 3 people had left. So, but, I mean, hey, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that she clarified this. I mean, yeah, I understand the concept of, you want to understand the truth, the story, you want to know the accuracy and be objective about what happened. Yeah, that's perfectly fair. But you can give her credit for that and say, hey, we like you and we respect you because you came out and said this, but also acknowledge that Spyglass did you wrong, which I'm glad people in this comment section are saying that. A person here says, doesn't change what Spyglass said. And Spyglass right here says, Spyglass stance is unequivocally clear. We have zero tolerance for anti-Semitism or the incitement of hate in any form, including false references to genocide, ethnic cleansing, Holocaust distortion, or anything that flagrantly crosses the line into hate speech, a Spyglass spokesperson tells Variety. And yeah, and a lot of people probably don't even want to watch the next Scream movie because of that. And now I know my prediction won't come true. Now I know it's not going to hit 170 to 175 million. I can see it maybe getting around the same numbers as I definitely see it getting more money than Scream 4. I don't think it's even going to reach Scream 6. Now, Scream 5 maybe, because Scream 4 got, $98 million at the box office. The 5th movie got 138, 39 million, and the 6th one got 169 million. I can see this movie probably getting somewhere between 140 to 150 million, so I think it'll barely just top Scream 5 in that. But if they were to bring her back right now and say, fine, we were wrong, we don't agree with your stance. Even if they said that, even if they say, we don't agree with your stance, but hey, we'll bring you back and give the fans something good. You bring her back, talk to Jenna Ortega, bring her back. See Kevin Williamson could come back and he'll be director, producer, consultant, whatever. You got Nev Campbell, you got Courtney Cox, you got all the people who survived the first 6 films. Bring that together. Then I think it would get 175 million at least. But a couple more before I take off. And she just let people spread around that she was fired and let people throw continuous accusations at Spyglass. What a joke. Okay, hold on. So let me see what the reply said to that one there. One reply to that said, Spyglass literally defamed Melissa Barrera as an anti-Semitic and in a statement about her not being in the next film. To which that person who made the post said, what she posts is her choice and she knows the consequences. Okay, but that's not... So, here's the thing. I understand the argument, and I've actually had some people say this to me in person. They were like, look, if she knew that there was a risk that came with putting up that post, she should have just kept her mouth shut. Okay, but then I respect her for coming out afterward and saying, silence is not an option for me. I will not remain silent, and this type of injustice I will speak up about. So instead of criticizing her for putting up the post, you should be saying, hey, we agree. I mean, assuming that you agree with the whole thing about what's going on with Israel, Palestine, all that whole thing. If you happen to support Israel, then fine. That's okay. I can see how you wouldn't think that way. But I thought we were a country about free speech. I thought that, I mean, right to freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion. I thought that was all in the First Amendment. Was I wrong? Did they change the First Amendment? I didn't know about it. So you should be saying to her, like, or saying about her, like, she spoke her mind, she spoke her truth, and Spyglass didn't need to cut her for it. Spyglass should have just pretended that they didn't see it and kept going with the movie with their original plans, and we would have had ourselves a good movie that would have been arguably better than the last two. Arguably better. In my opinion, the fourth movie was still the best, but that's a whole different story. I know many of you would disagree with that. We can talk about that in another video. But, okay, another one right here says, one of the replies to that says, friendly reminder that Spyglass themselves came out with a statement falsely accusing her of being anti-Semitic. Next one says, an article said that she was fired and called her anti-Semitic. She never said anything. And you all deserved all the hate and backlash you got and will continue to get for supporting this Zionist-infested film. It's sick and twisted. See, that's where I got mixed thoughts. See, again, I don't even know exactly how to respond to that except for... Here's my thing. A lot of people will watch a movie or a show and they may not like some of the stances and the views of the people who run that show or movie, but they're watching it because of the movie. I'm putting this in simplest terms right here. I mean, this is really not deep stuff right here. You don't have to be some type of a expert or genius to understand this. When I go see Scream, I'm going to go see it because I just want to see what the movie's about. I want to know who the killer is. I want to know the motive of the killer, all that stuff. Are they going to reference some of the original killers again like they always have? Are they going to find a way to go back to Billy Loomis? Are they going to find a way to go back to Stu Macher or Nancy Loomis or Roman Bridger or any of the other killers we've had over the years? That's what I think most people are watching the movie because of that. Now, this person also has the right to not support the film because they're like, hey, Melissa's anti-Semitic, and they can look at that and say, you know what? Forget them. They screwed her. They did her wrong, and I will not support them. Perfectly respectable. Understand that too. But let's face it. We've been eagerly awaiting, and we've been dying to see this movie, and they screwed it all up, and it was supposed to be released this year, and now it's pushed back a year, and it may not even come out till 2026. So this person right here has the nerve to sit there and say she's a joke, and she deserves to be canceled. Well, she got canceled from Scream, but guess what? It's not like she got canceled from Hollywood. She's still doing movies, and she still has projects coming up. She just had a movie that came out called Abigail. That was a good film. I give it about an 8. So I'm glad to see that even if the Scream people didn't want her, this doesn't stop her. She's still strong. She's still surviving. She's moving up and up. Is she going to be an A-lister in a number of years? She could be. Maybe she could not be. I guess it depends on her choice and where she wants to go. She could be a top A star in, say, the next 5 or even 10 years. Or, you know, she might be doing some drama, comedy, romantic films. Maybe she could be doing some action thrillers. Mess around, put her in a Marvel movie. That's going to really up her salary. So, I don't know. It really just depends on where she wants to go. It also depends on what other producers and directors look at her. They might agree with Spyglass and say, no, we think she's anti-Semitic. We don't want anything to do with her. Or they could say, yeah, we don't care what they did to you, but here, you work with us and just abide by our rules and policies, and we'll have you. You'll get higher pay. You'll be making $5 million per movie, $6 million, $7 million, 8, 10, 15 per movie. What's going to happen with that? Only time will tell. So just wanted to put that out there. So, hey, I still like and support Melissa Barrera, and I'll still continue to watch her movies and shows. She's got a few other things that I have to check out, but just want to put this out here that to a lot of you people that are criticizing her for that, I mean, you're kind of wrong in this, and it's kind of disgusting. But hey, everybody is entitled to an opinion. I'm not saying you can't have that opinion, but it's kind of questionable. It's a little bit twisted. But to those of you that support her and still like her, I mean, hey, thank you for being on the right side. So we got more coming up. Like and subscribe. And any other updates coming from Scream 7, whether it be good or bad, you know I'm going to cover it. So stay tuned.